Okay, now we're going to log in to what the industry refers to as a end device, a SIP end device. And remember, SIP end devices can be telephones, they can be access control doors, they can be video cameras, they can be FXS devices that provide IP to analog signaling for fax machines. So the SIP environment gives you a lot of configuration options. But once again, we're talking about establishing a telephone and having a telephone register to the phone system and have the ability for it to receive and make calls, check voicemail, do paging, all the things that a normal phone endpoint would do. So we're using a Yealink T46S telephone, as you can see here in the login page. The VoxIP system supports over 50 different endpoint manufacturers. But this would be the standard pretty much for every single phone endpoint. You would just have to find maybe the different configurations for each device and how they're configured. And also, like, for example, here on the Yealink, we're going to look at the system revision. Sometimes, obviously, how shocking this is that a manufacturer makes a little bit of changes and make you go look for it without documentation. So let's go ahead and log in here, and let's look at this telephone. And let's get that out of the way. So as you can see right now, the firmware revision is 66.81.020. I guarantee you Yealink has a later revision, 66.90, whatever it would be. And then things may change here. But what you're looking for on every device is an account. And most SIP endpoint devices, like this T46, it has 16 different accounts that you could actually configure. And once again, when we say account, we just mean the device registration information. So for example, remember we set up that phone, it was $29.99, the password was 4343. We're going to go ahead and put in the user's name here, and we're going to put in the registration number again one more time, and then the password 4343. This is what is required to connect to a VoxIP system. If you have a Grandstream, for example, you may not have a username, but you'll have a register name. You may just even have just a register name and a display name, and that's it. So just realize you can take this and kind of morph it to whatever manufacturer you're looking at. You also need to define in any endpoint what server you are connecting to. And then you can actually come up here, and remember you saw me enable that for account 1. I'd have to enable that for each individual account for it to log in if we wanted to use different, like make this a hot desk phone or some different accounts we wanted to answer on the phone. So if you see the register status up here is disabled, once I hit confirm, it'll go through there, and then if it has the correct, register failed. So we have something wrong on the password. Let me try one more again, 4343, hit confirm. And registry status is still failed. Okay, so let's go back over here. This is good. Let's go back over to the system, 2929, there it is. Let's verify the password for that user. Oh, I didn't put 4340. That was for the voicemail, that's right. Remember, I put 4343 here, but I didn't put it for the general. I put 12345. There's that goofy security warning. Let's clear that out. Let's go back to the phone, and let's put in 12345. Now in the VoxIP system, by default, if we have the system intrusion detection running, after 3 failed attempts, it'll actually block you. But I only entered 2, and now you see the system is registered. So literally right now, this phone has basic service. It can receive and send calls to it. Let's go ahead and set up the voicemail. We're going to go over here to the Advanced tab on the left. And the thing you need to do on the for the VoxIP system, once again, is we need to have subscribe for MWI. That means the WESIT message waiting indicator. Subscribe MWI to voicemail, where it actually goes out there and checks for voicemail if there's a new one. And we need to put in the feature code. And here's where SIP really starts to shine. The great thing with having an open architecture system is we have the ability to define our own voicemail, let's just call it programming codes that go to certain subsystems. So in a VoxIP endpoint, somewhere it has to be defined that star 97 is the voicemail. Let's scroll down here. Let's confirm it. And you can see there's a ton of options that you want. But just once again, this is the basic setup on how you would set up a end device to get voicemail. So once that's done, we come over here to the DSS key. And all we have to do is drop this down, and this will show up Right now, extension 2999 will actually show up 3 times on that phone. So that means you could have any combination of internal or external calls up to 3 on your phone. Okay. So once we've done that, we want to come over here to the feature code. And on the feature code, we want to have the ability to have certain things programmed on the telephone that they can just use fast, what we call fast or soft keys. Like, for example, call forwarding. By default, there is no system code in here for call forwarding, so we need to put that in there. So you want to put *72 to turn it on, and *73. So when someone goes to their phone on this Yealink phone and they find under the call features, call forwarding, and they press it, the phone will have this automatically programmed to send the correct code. When *72 is dialed from any extension, the phone system says this is call forwarding, and he prompts and asks you for the destination. Same thing for D&D. *78 and *79. And the reason why, once again, we want to put these in there is if you come to that extension, let's go back up here. We already know we've submitted this. So let's go back up to Applications, Extensions. And if you look at the extensions, you have quick snapshot of what's going on. Does he have D&D turned on? How about his find me, forward me, call forward busy, call forward unconditional? So if any of these are checked, it's because they put in the proper system code, and you can tell what has been enabled on the phone. Really handy. Okay, so all these are done. Let's go over here to our settings. And you can see there's a whole bunch of other things here, but we don't use these because these are there for the phone does not actually connect to a phone system. You can actually receive a SIP trunk directly to a telephone, so they had to build in some extra capabilities into the phone itself. So we'll go to the settings tab. We want to verify the time and date is correct. We want to change it to our time zone. Where is it at? The very top. Canada, China, Chile, Mexico, U.S. time. And then we want to come down here for the location. We definitely want to specify United States Central Time. Okay. We want to turn our primary server into the IP address of your VoxIP system. For our demo, it's 111. And you want to take this one out. This is how all the phones synchronize. And you want to make sure that you choose a 24-hour or 12-hour clock. We're just going to say 12-hour. We're going to confirm it. And the last thing we have to do on this page here is we want to do the soft key layout. Now, like I told you before, the phones are a lot smarter today than they were when you have, just dedicated Cisco or 3Com, Avaya. They really relied on the system itself, but you can actually buy phones that actually can stand by themselves and do a lot of capabilities without having a phone system. All we want to do today is we just want to make sure for any incoming call, we want to enable that soft key, and we want to remove everything out of there except reject. This will give us the ability for someone's in their office and they want to send something right to their voicemail box. They can hit reject. These other soft keys actually get in the way of when you're actually trying to transfer a call or do other kind of capabilities. So that's the reason why we remove them all. We confirm it. And last but not least, we want to come over to security, and you want to make sure that you put in the proper security password that you've been given from the installing team from IP Convergence. Once you confirm that, it tells us we've checked it. Now let's just go ahead and log back in and make sure that password works. And there we go, we're logged in. So real quick troubleshooting, making sure your register status is registered. Make sure you don't have any of the features turned on that could cause problems. And you're pretty much done. That is the default setup to connect to a VoxIP system. So in the next video, we're going to start getting into some more advanced capabilities like setting up auto attendants. We're going to look at setting inbound and outbound routes, how to actually provide some other capabilities on the system here. So we appreciate you watching this video, and we'll move on to the next one.